Jack from B&T MacFarlane, and today we're going to be going over the brand new Kubota SVL97-3. So let's get into it. Kubota has finally come out with the SVL97-3. It has made some huge improvements over the SVL97-2. If you remember the video on the SVL75-3, you'll know some of the changes that they made inside of the cab, the new paint job, the tons of features that are making it a way more comfortable machine to use and operate for long periods of time. They've went ahead and made all those changes on the SVL97-3 while still keeping the same performance and actually improving on their performance, which is really nice to see. So we're going to go in today, go through all the specs on the bucket, all the new features inside the cab, some of the new performance features that they've come out with, and see kind of how it stacks up against the SVL97-2, and you'd be pretty surprised at the amount of changes that they've made on the new -3 model. So taking a look at the bucket on the brand new SVL97-3, it has remained the same from the 97-2. Again, not a bad thing. We've been selling this bucket for many years, all the way back to the SVL95. So it's an 80-inch bucket made by Bradco, sold through Kubota. So 80 inches, it has a low profile so that when you're sitting up in the operator station, you're actually able to see over the top of the bucket. If you get more of a tractor style bucket on these or a bigger snow bucket, sometimes it is tough to see out that front window with a taller bucket. So low profile, longer floor, 80 inches wide with that bolt-on cutting edge. There are some other options for buckets. You can get the same style bucket with teeth on the end of it. So if you're going into some more compact clay, then getting a tooth bucket might be worth it. Although we sell this a lot into site development, landscaping type jobs, bigger landscaping type jobs, might I add. So a flat bucket with the flat cutting edge, I should say, makes a lot more sense for a lot of people. These machines, they come standard up front with the skid steer style front quick attach with a hydraulic coupler. So in terms of changing implements from, say, a bucket to a set of forks to a snow pusher, you don't have to get out of the cab. Where you will have to get out of the cab though is to install some hydraulic lines. So say you were to get a front snowblower up here, then you would get out of the cab, plug in your snowblower lines or other implements that use these hydraulics up here. Speaking about hydraulics, so it is a high flow machine. It runs at about 40 gallons per minute. So pretty much any implement will be able to be run with this machine. So think forestry mulchers, snow blowers, augers, cold planers, pretty much anything you can think of for the front of a skid steer will be able to run on the front of this machine. Lift capacity has also remained largely the same. So the max lift height, I should start by saying, is 128 inches to the very top. So easily able to load triaxle dump trucks. The lift capacity is 3,400 pounds roughly at 35% of the tipping load. So it's very different from measuring a skid steer lift capacity to a tractor lift capacity. So in a tractor lift capacity, if it can lift 2,000 pounds, that's all it can ever lift, because once you reach that mount, it'll hit the relief valves. You physically won't lift it anymore. Where skid steer is a little bit different. They rate things in terms of tipping loads. So this front loader on the skid steer is actually strong enough that you could physically put a load in the front bucket that would pick up the back end of the machine, which is considered the tipping load. So a lot of spec sheets and brochures, they go off of 35% of the tipping load. So 35% of the weight that would cause the back end of the machine to pick up is what it's rated at, and that's about 3,400 pounds, which is more than enough to pick up pallets of interlock, large stones, anything like that. You could safely carry around 4,000, 5,000 pounds with this machine. There's also an added option I'll show you afterwards, but at the back of the machine, you can add additional counterweights at the back of the machine. Couple 100 pounds on each side, and that'll greatly increase the lift capacity. You'll be able to squeeze an extra 300-400 pounds of lift out of this machine, which is not insignificant by any means. So they have made some changes on the outside of the cab on the SVL97-3. The first one being these front LED headlights. If you've seen the video on the SVL75-3, exact same headlights on this machine. Definitely not a bad thing. They are great headlights. So front and rear LED work lights. They've also incorporated the new paint job on this machine as well. So we'll do some B-roll footage of the back, but it's going to show the new paint job. Very similar to the SVL75-3. And again, that's sticking with Kubota's construction theme on their paint jobs. The SVL75-3, SVL97-3, they have that black color scheme along with our new -5 5 excavators all have that cool new black Kubota color scheme. You also have the new set of tracks on the outside as well. These are the new style H pattern tracks that come with it. So they've kept the best feature on Kubota skid steers that have been around for the past 10 years or so, is that fold up door. It's an amazing feature. I'm glad they brought it back here. I was expecting them to, so it's awesome to see it back. So again, you roll up the door and then you're not stuck inside of the machine, because on a lot of other brands, when you swing open the door, you're unable to lift the front bucket up anymore, so now you're stuck inside the machine. Where if this gets raised up a little bit, you can swing the door up and still be able to get out of the machine. Again, way less broken glass in this, way less issues, and overall just great to have that. And now that I'm inside the cab, there are a ton of new features. Like, this thing is packed. Same as the SVL97-3, but it almost feels like one step above. There's more legroom in the cab. There's a lot more features that do come standard in this. So we're gonna try and go through all of the new features here in one swoop. So the biggest one is going to be that new screen. So that's the same as the SVL75-3. You're going to have a built-in radio. You're going to have all your machine information. All that is built right into the screen with a keyless entry system that is touchscreen. Built-in backup camera too. So the second that I go reverse on this machine, the backup camera will come on the LCD screen here. There's also track sensitivity adjustments too. So you're able to change the track response between 3 different settings. So what that means is you can have a slow track response. So when I move to the left or to the right, it's not going to be super snappy and quick. So that's going to be handy if you're on a job site that's super tight and you don't want to have to worry about swinging around super quick and then hitting somebody or something. And then you also have a faster track response. So that would be if you're working in a more open space where you just want to do stuff quick and you want to get from point A to point B quickly, you can be really snappy left and right. This machine, it also has auto shift as well, which is an extremely nice feature. So before you used to have to put the machine in rabbit mode or the higher speed mode. And then once you come into a corner, once you tried to turn, there wasn't really enough torque to spin that machine to spin it around the corner. Now you can always leave it technically in rabbit mode or the higher speed mode. Move forward. When you go to turn, it'll auto downshift down into the turtle mode, which is the slower speed. Make that corner. Once you get back on the straight line, auto shift back up. It improves efficiency a lot when you're actually using this machine. And efficiency is the name of the game with the new SVL97-3, because they also improved the cycle times. I'll show a video of it going up and down, but they say it's 20% faster. So they improved the flow rates on this machine, like internally, in terms of being able to raise and lower the bucket. So a full cycle up, down is 20% faster on this machine versus the previous generation. There's also built-in KSR, so that's Kubota Shockless Ride. Basically what that is it adds an accumulator to the front hydraulic arms, turns the front of the machine into like almost a suspension type machine. So when you're driving on the job site with a heavy load, instead of like rocking back and forth because the machine is just bouncing all over the place, there's actually some kind of suspension there. So it'll float a little bit, making it way more comfortable inside of the cab. Cab is also a lot comfortable because of this brand new seat. This is an air ride seat that comes stock on the new SVL97-3. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you're sitting in the seat for 8 hours a day, potentially, makes a huge difference. Visibility is largely the same in this cab. Looking around, it's similar to the SVL97-2. Again, not a bad thing. That machine had a really good amount of visibility. I'm able to look out the side here at the ground. I can see my track, and then the backup camera helps a lot, because instead of the older style backup camera where it was up here, it's right there where I'm going to be looking anyways, which has all your information. And then speaking about information, when you're running a hydraulic implement out the front, before you'd have no idea kind of what pressure it was at. You had to do a lot of testing to get the implement dialed in. But on this new setup here, you can change the flow, and then when you're actually running the implement, it'll show a pressure gauge. So you can always make sure that you're running the implement at the optimal pressure that's designed to be run at. So it reduces the downtime, because if you have to keep getting out of the machine, changing the pressure on the implement, and then coming back in, seeing if it works and all that, now you can see it right on here and then keep working at your peak efficiency on here. And then some standard features that you would expect: heat, air conditioning, and then obviously the built-in radio into that LCD screen is standard on this new machine. So there are some new features on the back of the SVL97-3. The big one is going to be this engine bay compartment. So once the doors open, you undo a couple of the bolts and then the rad swings out. So this is a lot nicer than the 97-2, which had the old style where it kind of like tilted back and then you'd have to pull the whole rad off to get access to it. Now 2 bolts, rad's out of the way, you have full access to all your filters, belts, and everything like that on the 97-3. Same engine as the 97-2, 97 horsepower Kubota diesel engine. If you know anything about diesel engines, you'll know that once you get above 75 horsepower, not only are you gonna have a DPF system, but you're also gonna have DEF fluid. So there is a DEF fill-up tank on the side over there. Not the end of the world. They've come a long way in the past 10 years or so on engines that require DEF. So we very rarely see issues with this machine, even in winter applications here in Ottawa. Again, easy access to everything. 2 bolts hold it back on, just like that. And then we'll put it back together and we'll show you the back of the machine with the new paint job. So now looking at the back of the machine, you can see some of the new paint job on the back and then on that side. I think it looks personally really, really nice. It's very similar to the SVL75-3, which looks amazing. So they took a lot of the same concepts and put it in this machine. Built-in backup camera right here. This is the only part that I'm a little bit curious on. We've sold a couple of these so far, but long term it's kind of sticking up and out. So I'm just kind of curious if someone's gonna hit that and shear off this piece here. So only time will tell on that. But right now I kind of wish that that was built in maybe to the Kubota emblem, like the 75-3, up and out of the way, or maybe even pushed back a little bit further. It just seems like that's gonna be the first part of the machine to get hit and knocked off. On the side over there, the 3 bolts at the bottom, which are right here, those are gonna be where you're gonna bolt on the additional weights. So if you want to increase the lift capacity of the machine, that's where you get the weight kit bolted on. You have your DEF fill up right there on the side. And then right there, there's one on either side. Those are gonna be clean outs. So whenever the machine's running, it's gonna get full of dirt on the undercarriage. That's where a lot of the dirt and debris is gonna get caught and captured. So unbolt that, clean it out, and you'll be able to keep the underside of your machine extremely clean during operation. So that wraps up the video on the SVL97-3. Kubota has done an amazing job on this new model. They've pretty much changed everything that people had issues with on the 97-2. Improved operator comfort, a lot more performance, improved cycle speeds, and just a lot of good kind of creature comforts, some maintenance comfort items like in the engine bay where that radiator swings out, make a huge difference, because if they make it easy to maintain the machine, then people are actually gonna do it. If they make it hard to maintain the machine, then more often than not, people are just not gonna bother to do it. And as always, if you're enjoying the videos, remember to like and subscribe. If you need help with part sales or service, give us a call at 613-225-0555. Thank you for watching.